What's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jeremy Frazier, back at it again with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to increase your credit score. This is so important in your financial literacy journey to do. We need credit for everything. With that being said, we're going to get into a live example of one of my accounts. I'm excited to show you this stuff and get that credit increase. Let's go. Okay, so let's get into the live action example, right? We're going to be looking at one of my bank accounts, right? We're going to look at my Discover account and specifically my FICO credit score. And before we get into those 5 tips, we're going to talk about what is credit and why it's important. So credit is a contract agreement in which a borrower receives a sum of money or something of value and repays the lender at a later date, generally with interest. Credit is so important because it allows you to buy those items that you may not have the cash for. Things that are important, right? Maybe you need to furnish a new apartment and it's going to cost you $5,000 to do it. Instead of taking $5,000 out of your bank, which you may not have, you can be able to use credit and make payments to be able to get the furniture that you need. When you're ready to purchase a house, it's $200,000 or more, right? You can be able to take out a loan and use credit as a way to purchase a house for you to live in. So it's so important to make sure that you have credit and you leverage it, okay? So with that being said, what is a credit score and why is it important? So a credit score is a number from 300 to 850 that represents a consumer's credit worthiness. How likely are you to pay back the loan? So the more credit you have, the better credit score you got, the more money they'll give you to be able to leverage. So make sure you maximize your credit score because lenders like to see a good credit score. With that being said, I'm going to start talking about these 5 tips. Tip number 1 is your total amount of accounts, right? It's so important to have a mixture of different accounts from credit cards to loans and things that show that you're making payments or you have accounts and you're able to make payments, right? So that's the first tip, right? Make sure you have at least 3 to 4 different kind of accounts, right? Maybe get a gas credit card, maybe get a major credit card like Discover or American Express or Chase, right? If you have a car, make sure you're paying your payments. You're going to have credit that you're accumulating with that account. And that can be a good way to start and just keep building upon it over the years. Which brings me to tip number 2. Start now, don't wait. The length of credit impacts your credit history. The longer you have credit, the more trustworthy you are with handling it. For me, it's 13 years, right? Typically around 5 to 7 years is a good amount of time to have credit so that they know that you're able to handle this in the long run, right? It's not a fluke with just 1 or 2 years of doing well with credit. You can do it for the long run, okay? Tip number 3 is you don't want a lot of hard inquiries of your credit or even soft inquiries. So what is an inquiry? An inquiry is basically when you're going to open a credit account, they have to run a background check on you, which works against you when it comes to your credit. So you really don't want to do this too often. It's best that you do those things all at once within a short period of time so that it hits your credit at that month and then the next month it will recover. But when you go to get a house, when you go to get a car, when you go to open up a new credit account, they have to do a hard pull, unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, and it's going to impact your credit. But just limit the amount of hard inquiries that you have over time, okay? Tip number 4, you want to have revolving utilization of credit low. That basically means if you have $10,000 worth of credit, you do not want to be sitting at $9,000 used all the time. If you can keep it under $1,000 from month to month, that's so important because it shows you're not maxing out your credit cards, right? You don't want to max those credit cards out because they're going to kill you with interest if you do that. So it's best to keep your revolving credit down, right? For me, I have a lot of credit, but for the most part, I'm not using it. So my revolving utilization is under 10%. And probably the most important thing when it comes to your credit score, and the fifth tip is don't ever miss a payment, right? I don't care if you just have to make minimum payments and get hit with the interest that comes with doing that. Just never miss payments. Creditors want to know that you pay on time so that they can believe in you. If you don't pay on time, it's going to be a big dink to your credit score. So with that being said, those are my 5 tips. If you follow those 5 tips, you can be in the 800 range like me with an exceptional score. Not an average score, not a good score, but an exceptional score, right? So take these 5 tips, start the day, and improve your credit score. All right, guys. Till next time. Peace.
Put that work in. 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 Catch up, cause I'm too fast like you say. Don't put me in no one-on-one, get cooked up. Well done, came about that low pond, but now I'm swimming with